One of the many great things about QGIS is the different data formats it can handle. And maybe if you don't use it very often, you might not have a need for doing that. But sometimes we get files in different formats and we need to change them. If you're a long-time map info user, you might remember something called Universal Translator, where you could change file types quite easily. So let me have a little look at this folder, and I can see there's a GeoPackage in it that's got US counties. I'm going to add this to QGIS. I'm just going to left click and drag and drop it into the map canvas and move the window out of the way. You can also just click on the Open Data Source Manager button, and there's one already there, but if I want to add a vector layer, I could just browse to where it's saved. Same for raster layer or other types. But I like to drag and drop the data in. We've got US counties. Let's zoom in, and let's say I want to save this as a shapefile because a colleague has asked for it as a shapefile. I'll just right click the layer, go to export, and then save features as. You'll notice if I had some features selected, when I right click and go to export, I can choose to save the selected features. But right now, I'm going to save it all. So I'm going to right click, export, save features as. The format drop down here has all the options. GeoPackage will be the default, but then you've got Esri Shapefile and loads of other ones, some of which are quite old, some of which you might never have heard of. But the good thing is you can export to any of these file formats. And if somebody gives you a file in these formats, you can open it in QGIS very easily. So for example, if you've got a GPX file from Strava, you can just drop it in, a Google Maps KML file, a map info file, or any number of other ones. But Shapefile is something a lot of people use, so let's export to Shapefile. I'll click on the Browse button to give it a name. Let's call this one US Counties 2018. And I'll hit Save, and then if we don't want to export all the fields, so all the columns in the dataset, I can untick anything I don't want to export. That's quite handy. Sometimes if we have loads of columns and we don't want them all in our exported dataset, we could untick. Right now I'll keep it as it is. I'll leave all the other options as they are, including the button at the bottom, which is Add Saved File to Map. That will be ticked by default, and all that means is when I click OK, QGIS will save the GeoPackage into a shapefile and it will add it as a new layer. So let's take a look when I click OK. There we go. Now, how do you know that's a shapefile? Well, we know because we just converted it. You'll see a little green result bar at the top, which tells you where it is. So you can click on that little hyperlink. That's sometimes useful if we forget the folder we saved it to. But if I just hover the mouse over each layer, I can see the file path here, and it ends in SHP for shapefile. The one below it is the original. And we can see the file path there, ends with GPK. For GeoPackage. So if we wanted to convert this again to a different format, same process, right click, export, save features as. And note as well, if you wanted to change the coordinate reference system, you could use one you've already used in a project, which would be listed there, or you can click the little button to select any CRS, any coordinate reference system, and then you can just use the search box. So that's how you can use QGIS to convert from one file format to another in only a few seconds.